Hello, and welcome to the English Lesson Cafe podcast, where you can listen in on our conversations to improve your English. My name is Mark, and I'm here with my wife.
My name is Hillary.
You will be able to hear conversations that we have in our daily life to help you learn as you listen. So, my name is Mark, and I'm from the state of North Carolina, which is in the United States. It's a state that's on the east coast of the United States. Where are you from, Hillary?
I'm from Tennessee.
All right. In Tennessee, where is Tennessee located?
It's another state in the United States, and it is west of North Carolina, so not on the coast.
Okay. And so they would be called border states because the western end of North Carolina meets the eastern side of Tennessee. I was born in North Carolina. However, I moved around through my life to different cities, different states. So, Hillary, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in the state where you were born? Like I said, for myself, I was born in North Carolina, and yet I lived in other states, so I didn't necessarily grow up in the same city. How about you?
Yes, I lived in the same state, in the same city, and in the same area for my entire life until I got married.
In the majority of the United States, within the state, we have what are called counties. And then within the counties are cities and towns. My parents were living in a certain village on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, which is a strip of islands, and there was no hospital close to where they lived. So I was not even born in the same city, town, or village where my parents were living. They had to drive about 2 hours to get to a hospital. It was a village. It wasn't even a city or a town. Right now, we live in a village. We have about 500 people in our village. How would you describe the location where you were born and raised? Would it be a small village? Would it be a town? Or would it be a big city?
Well, I wouldn't use the word village at all because I don't feel like in our regular conversations in English, we say village. I think it's a small town, and that's how I would refer to where we live now and where I grew up. I don't even use village unless I'm talking to people from other countries. Just this morning, I was speaking with a gentleman who lives in Taiwan, and he said that we lived in the suburban area. And I said, you would probably refer to it as a village. And he agreed with me when I told him a little bit more about where we live. But I don't refer to it as a village. I refer to it as a town, a small town.
Okay. And this is something you'll find in the United States, that even though we all speak English, we have different phrases and different terms for a lot of things in life, actually.
Mhm.
You'll even find that in our vocabulary. Even though North Carolina and Tennessee is a border state, we do have uh, different words that we use sometimes. Maybe
Water.
things. Well, that would be how we pronounce something. Yes, but we even have different vocabulary. So she's making fun of me for saying the word water. Water is spelled Water, and my pronunciation of the T in that word sounds more like a D. So if I say, "Let me have a glass of water,"
Yeah, that's how you, it's not your T or your D, it is your A. You say it like an O, water, water. I say water. These are our regular daily conversations.
yeah. So back to our life. So we live in North Carolina. Uh, I grew up. I don't even know. I can't even say I grew up mostly around the ocean. I grew up in my younger years around the ocean. So I love the water. I love fishing. I love swimming. I love boating activities. Um, However, I've lived in one, two, three, four, five, maybe six different states. Um, how do you like the beach? How do you like the ocean? Because Tennessee is landlocked. You do not border the ocean like North Carolina does, or a lot of people are familiar outside of the United States with Florida, California, which are coastal states. What was it like growing up in your town or village?
Well, I did live close to the mountains, which are beautiful. And in the fall, we had all of
Foliage.
We had all of the yellows and the purples and the greens even and the reds. It was just really pretty. The only thing I don't like about being here is that we don't get as much of those bright colors in the fall. But if I could cut out some part of the map and put Tennessee closer to the ocean so that I could still be close to the people I grew up with and still be close to the ocean, that's what I would do. But I would never move away from the ocean again.
Yeah, I agree.
You agree with cutting out some of the map?
Yeah, actually, I can think of one state,
Texas?
Tennessee.
You would cut out the whole state. You are so. Oh.
This is called banter.
Mm,
So I would never want to not live by the ocean again.
that's what I said.
I know. The state of North Carolina is about 500 miles wide, and I should figure out how many kilometers that is, but that'll be your homework for the day. So North Carolina is about 500 miles wide. On the east side, it borders the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. And on the western end of North Carolina, there's a mountainous range. So it's called the Great Smoky Mountains. So we have the best of both worlds. A lot of people like either the sea or they like the mountains. North Carolina offers both.
Because we both come
I'll
from
tell you
states
yes.
that are very wide across. So to get from, unfortunately, to get from where we live now to get to where my parents live or my friends that I grew up with, it takes 12 hours to drive.
Yeah.
Because we're so far away, because North Carolina is so long. Then they live in the middle of Tennessee. So you got all that to drive. And if you were going to drive from this side of North Carolina to the far western part of Tennessee, that would take at least a day, I would think. A whole day, like 18 hours maybe.
Tennessee's about 500 miles wide as well.
That's what I thought.
So here's something cool. I just read last night, I believe. So the state of Tennessee, as we mentioned, is about 500 miles wide. I forget the exact number. There's a city on the east end of Tennessee called Bristol. There's a city on the west end of Tennessee called Memphis. Bristol is closer to Canada than Memphis.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Interesting little tidbit of information. So that shows you, in a sense, and for those of you that maybe are not familiar with Tennessee and where it's located in the United States, most Americans would find that fairly surprising because Canada obviously is north of the United States, and it seems like a long distance away from anybody in the midsection of the U.S. Tennessee is a beautiful state. I don't think where we live right now has basically what you would call 4 seasons in terms of winter, spring, summer, and fall. I don't know.
It depends on the person that you're talking to, I would think, because sometimes it gets cold here, but it doesn't get cold like New York cold, obviously.
How many times have you been to New York?
Never. But it doesn't even get as cold here as it got in Tennessee.
No, Tennessee was cold.
It doesn't get cold enough to snow here. So some people think that because we don't get cold enough to snow, it's not really a winter. But it gets cold enough for me that I'm not happy. And some of my children who don't like cold weather are
It gets
not
cold
happy.
enough for you in the house that you're not happy.
That's true. So winter, I would call it still a winter, but I would call it a mild winter because we never get snow. Spring doesn't last very long.
It's short.
So we get a little bit of a reprieve from the cold, and it doesn't get so hot, but it doesn't last very long. That beautiful, like almost perfect temperatures and sunny and nice. But then summer comes like it is today, and it is very, very hot. And this is going to last probably until September.
Yeah, it's pretty warm today.
And then we have fall, which nothing really changes very much in fall.
No.
You get a little bit of reprieve from the hot, but not very much. And we don't get those colors that I like.
No, we don't. We live on the coast. However, palm trees are not really part of the landscape here. However, we do have pines. Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of pine trees, which are evergreens. We also have a lot of live oaks, which are evergreens, means they don't lose their leaves. They stay green year round. And so it is a very, very green landscape.
Maples change color and they look very beautiful. We have a few of those, but not in our yard, not in our general area. But if you drive on our road or
Yeah.
you're going to even a nearby city, you can see some, but it's so few and far between.
Few and far between. That's a good phrase.
That you see any fall foliage colors. It's
Tennessee,
sad.
on the other hand, or Western North Carolina up in the mountains, or even the center part of North Carolina, it is a beautiful sight to behold when it's fall. Or as I would say, come fall, it's a beautiful sight to behold because the trees are amazing. They look amazing. It's really nice. But yeah, come to North Carolina where you can ski, you can water ski, you can snow ski, all in the same state. Hillary, do you have any questions for us?
So I know you've lived in several states. This is like speed round. I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
And you give me an answer. Don't stretch it out. Don't talk about it. Just answer.
Okay.
You've lived in North Carolina.
Yes. Is that fast enough?
What is your favorite thing about North Carolina?
Me.
Wow.
Okay. Sorry. Favorite thing about North Carolina is excluding family.
Okay. Your favorite, what makes North Carolina a good place for you to live? Why would you want to be here besides people? What is the thing that makes you want to be here?
Can I only pick one thing?
Right now.
Oh,
this
no.
This is the speed round.
Okay. The ocean.
That's what I thought you would say.
It's hard to say one thing. I'm sorry.
You also lived in Ohio. So what was your favorite thing about Ohio?
Okay, I was a little boy then.
I know.
You don't want me to give any kind of commentary. You just want me to say it.
Yes.
But I have to give a reason why.
No, you can talk about that later.
Snow.
Okay. And what was your favorite thing about Texas?
The motto for Texas is everything is bigger and better in Texas. And she expects me just to give a one-word answer for that. Mm-hmm. Atmosphere.
I was going to say San Antonio, and I didn't even live there.
Well, you see, that's why we can't do the one word.
That's 2 words.
Yeah. So we can't do. So I have to say the overall atmosphere. That's 2 words too.
Atmosphere?
Overall atmosphere. Yeah.
What was your favorite part of living in Tennessee?
You.
Okay, what was your favorite part? I know Tennessee wasn't really your favorite place at all anyway. No. But you had to come there to get me. What was your favorite part of living in South Carolina?
Ooh. Good question. Man. The ocean.
I figured that's what you'd say. For North Carolina, I would say ocean. For South Carolina, because we lived in a tourist area, we met so much of a huge range of types of people. I feel like
I take back my answer.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you gonna take mine?
I don't care. I don't really want your answer. So I'm gonna say activities.
That's true.
I'll just say activities. Everywhere you live, there'll be somebody that says, "Oh, this town is so boring. There's nothing to do here. I want to move somewhere else." But in all seriousness, if you were bored in Myrtle Beach, if you're bored in South Carolina, then you wouldn't be happy if you worked in a pie factory. Yeah, so I would say activities.
Yeah. If you could put 2 words, family activities, I would think.
Yeah.
Because if I was there by myself, I don't know that I would have done a whole lot of things, because a lot of things are things you do with a group or with at least another person. So, yeah. I liked riding up and down the boulevard on the motorcycle.
Something as simple as if there was nothing else to do in Myrtle Beach,
I know,
but ride up and down Ocean Boulevard on a motorcycle,
yes,
then I would never get bored either.
I know.
Here's my fatherly advice for the world. My advice for everybody for the world. I don't care who you are or who I am. It may be easy to sit back and say, my town is boring. There's nothing to do here. But I'm sure there is. There's something to do wherever you are, and nobody should ever be bored wherever they are. I know. I could probably look around the map and find a place that is like, okay, there is nothing to do here. I understand that. But if you're with other people and with other people you enjoy, Never use that as an excuse.
Mhm.
Enjoy the people you're with. If you're with people that you love and you enjoy, then you're never bored.
Well, right now we live in a place. Mark wants to call it a village. I'd call it a small town. There's no grocery store.
No.
There's a post office, and there's almost a gas station. It's not really an inside part yet. You can go pump gas. You can buy a bag of ice, and you can get air in your tires. And that's about it. And then there's one small restaurant. Maybe two now. But I never sit here and say I'm so bored. Even if I'm not going to a restaurant,
No.
even if I'm not going to pump gas in my car,
No.
I've got things I can do. Everybody has hobbies.
Yes.
And so I've got my chickens outside. I can go outside and do things with my chickens. I've got my kids that also have animals that we can interact with. We can interact with each other. There's just so much that you can do, even if you live in a place where there's almost nothing.
Here's the thing. Even if there was no chickens, there was nothing else to do, we could always just let the air out of our tires, roll the car over to the gas pumps, put more air in the tires, and see we still have something to do. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess that wraps up today's show. Thank you for listening today. My name is Mark.
And my name is Hillary.
And this is the English Lesson Cafe podcast, where we help you join the conversation.